Welcome to the Reform Will Fix It local election tour. Live from Leeds in the county of Yorkshire. Now, please welcome Councillor and broadcaster Darren Grimes.
Hello! Hello! Hello, Leeds! Oh my goodness, you've just caught me back from the local spoons. I've been doing a switch or a twist. I can't actually work out which one it is that I've been doing. But it's nice in there, isn't it? I can see a lady waving there. She agrees. She agrees. Absolutely. You've got loads of party places in Leeds. I tell you, I actually can't remember me last night out in Leeds, and it's not because I haven't been here. But anyway, we'll move swiftly on. My friends, why are you here tonight? You are not members of the party. Have I got that right?
Yes.
Yes. And why is it that you've decided to turn out tonight?
Because we're very interested in supporting Britain and we want to know more.
I love that. I love that. Do you not love that, ladies and gentlemen? And do you not also love a night out in Leeds? Yes, I should hope so too. You should be very proud of it. You should, very proud. But we've got absolute reams of members of the public here tonight who haven't made their minds up, potentially. We're also joined, of course, by our great members and by our candidates, who I'll get to momentarily. But, madam, I'm going to pick on you. She can see me, she can see me, she can see me. Can I ask you, madam, why are you here tonight?
Again, just to find out a little bit about what we can do.
And can I ask you, what are the issues that are, making your sort of sleepless nights at the moment?
Number one is immigration.
Yeah, well, immigration. Anyone concerned about immigration? And it's not to say that this party is anti-immigration, but it is to say that this party is anti-anyone that doesn't come to this country and seek to adopt the values of this great nation, is it not? Now, Trish, where are you, Trish? Turn round, Trish. Now, Trish, I've got to introduce you to Trish. Trish, my good friend here, one of our first councillors, in fact, our first councillor, our very first councillor in this great part of the world. Can I get a round of applause for that, please? What was it, my love, that made you decide to come over?
I like what Reform stands for. I think we can make a difference, and I think that this great country needs saving.
Oh, I do too, do you not? Sir?
Good evening.
That's a beautifully coloured jumper, if I do say so myself. Do you agree with those sentiments?
I do, yes.
Are you together?
We are.
Oh, in what capacity?
We're partners.
Oh, well, there we are.
Partners in politics, there we go.
Why have you not put yourself forward? Are you a councillor?
Oh, not yet.
Well, there we are. You're a candidate, are you?
Not yet.
He can be, though, ladies and gentlemen, can he not? He can be. See, I'm put a little bit of peer pressure, my friends, a little bit of peer pressure. We'll sign you up by the end of the night. Thank you so much, Trish, and thank you for what you're doing as well. Now, my friends, as I say, members of the public here tonight, madam, I'm going to have to come over to you. You've got inviting eyes, inviting eyes. Why are you here tonight?
I'm here to see you. I'm so pleased you're here. I think you're wonderful.
I didn't pay for this, by the way. Who said that? Someone said I paid for this. I didn't. Well, thank you so much. Where are you from?
I'm from Halifax.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Good. Halifax. Lots of Halifax representation. Yeah. Now, are you expecting change in Halifax? And I don't mean the bank.
Change. There's lots of change going on in Halifax anyway.
I mean for the better, for the better.
I hope so.
In
yeah.
our party.
I
in
hope
our
so.
party.
I
yeah.
hope so, yes. Please God.
Yes. Well, me too, me too. And thank you to the two of you for coming out tonight, and everyone else that has come out as well in such large number. Thank you so much to those who are seeking to engage with our party, despite not being members of the political party, but actually who want to hear that genuine democratic choice being expressed at the ballot box. Because it's something that, and I'm sure you'll all correct me if I'm wrong, it's something we've been denied for far too long, is it not? An actual choice at the ballot box. Yeah? And we do have that now, and we have that because of not just Trish, but from candidates who are putting themselves forward. And I think, lucky Trish isn't up for election for another year, but you'll correct me if I'm wrong on that, Trish. But we have candidates here who are putting themselves forward for these elections. And I have to say, first of all, I want a massive round of applause for everyone that's decided to do that. Thank you very much. Now, none of them know who I'm going to pick on. None of them know. There's trepidation. There's trepidation. I can see you, sir. There's trepidation. Look at that rosette. I must go to you, first of all, sir. So, why have you decided to stand for Reform UK?
To make a difference.
And what difference is it that you want to see?
Some common sense in society.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Where is it that you're standing?
Queensbury, Bradford.
Bradford. In Bradford, ladies and gentlemen, in Bradford.
Queensbury, Bradford.
Bradford. Thank you very much, sir. Oh, look at that jacket. Did you have that made especially?
No, it was just one I bought off the shelf.
Off the shelf from where? Reform UK?
Unfortunately, Amazon.
Amazon? Amazon? You mean China?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Sir, I have to ask you, with that fabulous beard, where are you standing?
In Wakefield.
In Wakefield, ladies and gentlemen, in Wakefield. And how are you fancying your chances?
I think it's going to go quite well.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. Thank you very much. Oh, sir, look at this scarf. Where did you get that from?
What from?
The scarf.
Oh, I got from outside, like 50-50 scarf. And I'm right away.
A 50-50 scarf. We're selling them outside like a football match. Who is it that I'm scrapping tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Who is it? Who is it? It's beautiful, though. And where are you standing?
I'm standing in Wakefield as well, yeah.
Wakefield as well?
Yeah.
Now, I haven't done this deliberately because I know people outside of Wakefield will be sending me emails saying, oh, I recognise you. Hello. Where are you standing?
I'm standing in Sheffield.
Ah, Sheffield. We got any Sheffield? Now, what does Nick Clegg have to say about that? Eh?
Well, he's not too happy, I can imagine, but he's never in Sheffield anyway.
Well,
so.
he's not. He's in California these days. California. He is. All right. Now, we're going to go over now and discuss with two... Thank you very much for being here, everyone. Now, we're going to go over and discuss with two of our absolutely fantastic speakers tonight. Jack Anderton and Councillor Emma Hunt. Now, Councillor Emma Hunt, I may have come across once or twice. I didn't mean like that. Who laughed? Who laughed there? Who laughed there? I have met her in my professional capacity many times because she is one of our Durham County Council councillors. But she is also in her 20s, ladies and gentlemen. And I think both Jack and Emma represent what this party does for youth participation in politics. And by that I mean, it actually gives young people, dare I say, in working class communities, the actual voice that they've been so desperate for. So let's welcome on with a rapturous round of applause, Emma Hunt and Jack Anderson. Thank you very much to the two of you for joining me. Now, Emma, I have to ask you, you've been working with me for some time. I don't want you to tell them what hell it's been. I can see some voices laughing around here right now. But actually, the youth participation element, you are in your 20s. You could have done other things. That might have been nightclubs. There are plenty of them in Leeds, are there not? Yeah, plenty of them here. You could have been out on the piddle. But instead, you decided to put the metal to the electorate, and you were elected alongside your mum, whatever your fancy takes. Why is it that you decided to put your head above the parapet and stand for election?
I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone in the room, but quite frankly, I was just sick. I was sick of the Conservatives, the Labours lining the pockets with false hope and promises when they just leave our community to rot and don't deliver on what they say.
Well, I think you all agree with that, don't you? Yeah. Now, Emma, you are someone that is passionate about certain issues, especially around special educational needs, and it's something that we've championed in Durham. Those kinds of issues, people, I think, perhaps don't think of them at a local level, but they do matter at a local level, right? What we have done in Durham can be replicated in the likes of Leeds and other parts of the country, where actually if you get reform governments, they focus on your priorities and not, dare I say, the priorities of Gaza.
Yeah, so I agree. I think the SEND provision comes above anything else when it comes to priorities. Like, our kids matter. The future of not every child, every child, including SEND children, matters. And we need to put them first because they are our future.
They are. And before I get to Jack, who, by the way, you might not know, is a viral sensation. And I don't mean that in a sort of, who laughed there? Who laughed? I mean that, Emma, in the sense of highlighting the issues that matter to young people. You're unable to get a house, you're unable to do X, Y, and Z. But actually, the issues that you're highlighting show what local politics actually manages to do. Because right now, there is a disconnect, is there not, between the councillors who are out there saying we need to care about issues that don't matter to the people in this room, and people like you on the ground who are saying, please, for the love of God, will you focus on social care when it comes to special educational needs and adult social care too?
Yeah, so I've done a lot of rough sleeping work, and that is absolutely at the moment in Durham to see the state of our area.
And here, it's here too, isn't it?
To see the state, nobody cares about a green bin wagon when you're sleeping in a field, when it's -2 outside. Get your priorities sorted.
I agree, Emma, I agree. Jack, now I have mentioned to you that, or I have mentioned to this audience that you have gone viral once or twice, but it's viral actually focused on the issues that matter to younger people. And Jack, those issues in your robust champion of everything that you believe and hold dear is the economics, right? The economics that are failing our young people in places like this.
Absolutely. So I have been on a university tour across the country, so from Edinburgh to York to Exeter, and one thing that is really clear to me with young people is that young people are incredibly pessimistic about the future of our country, I think rightfully so. If you look at the university system, the lie that they have been sold, the lie that a degree will ensure that you have a good job, that you can raise a nice family, that you can buy a house, that isn't the case. And it was Tony Blair, you know, I'm sure he's very popular in this room.
Is he popular?
And it was Tony Blair who initiated this target of 50% of students, 50% of young people going to university, and it hasn't worked. And so young people now are going to university, and actually they're coming out of it poorer than when they went in.
Yeah.
So the Labour government recently changed the student loans repayment system to ensure that young people, when they graduate on minimum wage, are now required to pay back their student loans.
It's disgraceful, isn't it?
It's disgraceful. And what it shows is that the political class of this country do not care about young people. And that has been clear for decades and decades.
Do you agree? But Jack, they do agree and champion the rights of young people if they come from other places, do they not?
Well, that's quite right. So you talked about one of my viral moments. My first sort of moment of virality was highlighting the unfairness of social housing, and specifically social housing in London. So across the country, in terms of the statistics and the percentage of foreign-born people in social housing in London, it's almost 50% of social housing in London is occupied by foreign-born households. That is a totally unfair system, and also we're pricing out young people from our big cities like London. You know, if you're say for example, I'm from Liverpool. I moved from Liverpool to London. My rent is extortionate. The rent for young people is extortionate, and we are creating a fundamentally unfair system.
We are. Let me ask, given everything that Jack has just eloquently displayed there, how many of you in this room, and you might well be young, but how many of you are worried about the next generation's prospects in this country? Raise your hands if you are. Yeah. I'd say that's pretty overwhelming.
I think
Jack,
that's pretty
wouldn't
clear,
you?
yes, absolutely. And, you know, it's not just about young people now, it's also about the future generations as well.
Yeah.
You know, there are generations and generations of young people that have only ever seen Britain in decline. And that's really what Reform UK is about, which is reversing that decline and offering hope to our country.
I agree. Now, Emma, then, we'll give the closer to you in the sense of, and I hope anyone doesn't think I'm being entirely misogynistic when I say this, my friends, but you are, on my panel tonight, the only one that can get pregnant. Does everyone agree with that? Does everyone agree with that? Is that true? Is that true? Are you worried about the future prospects of your future children when it comes to Britain's trajectory and what the future might hold?
Under the current government, I wouldn't have a child. I wouldn't want to bring a child into this.
Oh my God.
But under Farage and under Reform, I believe that there's hope for a better generation.
Well. And that's what we care about in this party. It isn't now, it is the future. And it's our future that's at risk, ladies and gentlemen. It really, really is. But, speaking of a bullish approach to everything that we hold dear, I guess it's time, my friends, to introduce the one and only party chairman of this great party, Dr. David Bull.
Well, a very good evening to you all, ladies and gentlemen. Darren, thank you so much for doing a brilliant job. Let me just say this. I'm going around the country and something extraordinary is happening around this country. In Liverpool, 80% of people voted Labour at the last election. That is now down to 40%. Reform UK snapping at their heels in Liverpool. Here in Leeds, I'm going to talk about this. It is absolutely overwhelming. Reform UK is on the rise and on the march. Emma, Jack and Darren, thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, Darren Grimes. Well, a very good evening to you all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. David Bull, and let me tell you, I'm extremely proud to be the chairman of Reform UK. Now, I'm so delighted to be here in Leeds. It's a city where I've had some very riotous evenings over the last few years. So many evenings, and yet so little memory of what actually happened here in Leeds. Now look, you know this, but Leeds has an amazing history. It was awarded its Royal Charter by King Charles I in 1626. It expanded in the 17th and 18th century. It became the wool capital of the world. It then developed as a mill town in the Industrial Revolution. It was known for the flax industry, iron foundries, engineering and printing, and then it reinvented once again. That's what it keeps doing, into a leading retail, financial and legal hub. Now, here are some things you may not know about Leeds. It's famous for being the birthplace of Marks and Spencer, which started as a penny bazaar in Kirkgate Market in 1884. The world's first ever film, Roundhay Garden Scene, was recorded in Leeds in 1888, and the first British ISP, or Internet Service Provider, FreeServe, was founded here in Leeds. And, I love this one, fizzy drinks were born in Leeds, and I do like a splash of tonic with my gin, and just a splash. So look, it's really clear to me that Leeds has the most incredible past. And let me be very clear about this. Under a Reform UK government, we will ensure that Leeds has an even better future going forward, and I think that is something you can get on board with. Now look, Leeds, like many cities across the country, was a Labour stronghold. Here, you don't usually count the Labour vote, you weigh the Labour vote. But you know what? Those days are well and truly over. At the last general election, the Reform UK vote was a political footnote. But if you then fast forward just a year and a half, wow, how things have changed. Let me just tell you, I looked at the latest polling today. It shows the Labour vote across Leeds has completely collapsed. And it gets better. The extraordinary news I can give you tonight is Reform UK is now on track to win 4 parliamentary seats in Leeds. There is no doubt that here in Leeds at the next general election, the incompetent Labour Party will be smashed into oblivion, and I say, bring it on, don't you? Well, let's go back to tonight. It really is so good to see you all here. I was listening to those interviews earlier, many of you coming for the first time. Some of you here tonight are supporters of our great party. Some of you are members of our party, but many of you are here out of curiosity. You've never had an affiliation with a political party. And some of you also refuse to vote because you know you will be ignored. And look, I don't blame you. Because time and time again, people across Yorkshire have been consistently ignored. However you vote, whatever you vote for, the establishment always fights against you. They continue to fight against you. They do not care what people like you actually think. It's fair to say the establishment is only in it for themselves. And that's why I say the whole blinking lot need to be booted out of office today. And do you know what? I'm seeing people venting their anger and frustration as I travel around the country. I've been on the road for the last 9 months. I've been doing the chairman's tour. I did our party conference and all these rallies as well. I totted it up earlier today. I've now seen over 20,000 people in just 9 months. That really is a staggering number. I have a really good sense of what people around this country are thinking. And these people are people just like you. From Burnley to Sunderland, Penrith to Hull, from Milton Keynes to Wigan to Walsall to Aberdeen, Llandudno to Preston. It's really obvious to me, across the country, the message really could not be clearer. This current government is the worst any of us have ever seen in our lifetimes. Would you not agree? You see, here's the thing. This government is directionless, it's rudderless, it doesn't have any principles. It doesn't have any policies. It lacks any kind of coherence. Now, at the last election, Leeds voted for Labour. Now, Labour promised you they would control immigration. Well, they lied, didn't they? Labour promised your taxes wouldn't rise. And guess what? They lied, didn't they? And Labour promised you safer streets. And once again, they lied. And the Labour Party promised the economy was safe in their hands. Good Lord, Rachel Reeves. Guess what? They lied. And I tell you what, and I hope I speak for all of you, everyone in this country, everyone in this great city have had enough of Labour lies. Have you not? Now look, I've been saying this around the country, and I've been thinking about this, which is great countries like this one need a great leader. Don't we? And what do we have? Keir Starmer. Exactly. He is a failed human rights lawyer who prefers Davos to Devon. He's a man who this week was ridiculed by the President of the United States. He is a man who languishes, wait for this, with a net approval rating of -47. In fact, his approval rating is now so bad that at this point the taxman, the rail replacement buses, and even the dreaded BBC are far more popular than the Prime Minister. I think it's really clear to all of us this Labour government is out of ideas and out of time. They have absolutely no idea what they are doing. It is extraordinary to me. They are now on their 16th U-turn. They have trashed the economy. They have kicked every single business that many of you will run where it hurts. And they have launched full frontal attacks on our farmers, on our industrial base, on our pubs, on people who work hard. And for me, as a medical doctor, the worst sin of all, they have attacked our pensioners, and that is totally unacceptable. They have also, and we all know this, presided over rocketing energy costs, and they worship on this crazy altar of net zero. It is totally embarrassing, it's unacceptable, and it is utter madness. Now, unforgivably, they have also allowed the illegal invasion of our country to continue unabated. Let's look at these figures. They're really sobering. 41,000 people came here illegally last year. That is the second highest number of crossings ever recorded. Now, in Leeds alone, you are housing and paying for over 1,500 illegal migrants. 1,500 you're paying for. Meanwhile, there are 27,000 local people on the housing list, and that is deeply unfair, and it needs to stop now. And what's more, look, we have no idea who these men are. They are a massive security risk to your families and to this country. And let me be really clear here. Only a Reform UK government will stop this country being invaded once and for all. And you can see this. The government knows it is in deep, deep trouble. It's now lashing out, accusing Reform UK of wanting to privatise the NHS. Well, I'm a medical doctor. I'm also, by the way, the person who wrote our health policy. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is a blatant lie. It smacks of desperation. Let me be very clear again with you tonight. Under a Reform UK government, the NHS will remain free at the point of need. Ignore the lies. But here's the other problem. Labour aren't the only liars in town. The Tories betrayed your trust. It was the Tories that actually broke Britain. It was the Tories that bankrupted the country, presiding over record tax hikes, a cost of living crisis, austerity, and the erosion of public services. It was the Tories that broke the NHS. It was the Tories, and remember this, turning the country into a police state in the COVID pandemic, something I never thought I would see in my lifetime. And they consigned elderly people to die alone and frightened and without family. That is totally unacceptable, and I never, ever want to see that callous, harsh behaviour ever again. They also started this immigration catastrophe that we all worry about so much. They let in nearly 150,000 illegal migrants, and under Boris Johnson, they allowed 3.8 million unskilled migrants legally into this country. Legally! And half of them will never, ever work. The Tories were totally and utterly irresponsible and can never, ever be trusted again. So where do we go from here? Well, given the two main parties have abjectly failed the country, some people are turning to Ed Davey and the Lib Dems in desperation. Exactly. In desperation. And that's what I call desperate. And you know, that really only leaves Zach Polanski and the Green Party to consider. And if you're in any doubt, let me give you a clinical diagnosis on Zach Polanski. He is utterly bonkers. Let me be very clear again. The Green Party is a major threat to British national security. They do not believe in borders or upholding the rule of law. They're also going to accelerate this insane net zero delusion. And guess what? They are going to stop you from buying a petrol or diesel car by the end of this year. They also don't believe in hard work. They want a 4-day week for everyone. And I ask you, who the heck is going to pay for that? The Green Party is a party more interested in Gaza than Great Britain. You cannot trust the Green Party with your vote. So that brings me now to where we are. I really believe this from the bottom of my heart. I do believe that Reform UK is the very last chance for this country, actually. We're the fastest growing political party in this country. We're now the largest political party in this country. Since I've been chairman, we've gained 5,000 new members every single month to this party. We now have 8 members of parliament, and we are not stopping there. And people keep telling me, well, you've peaked. They told me that when we were at 2%. They told me again when we were at 9% when I was deputy leader of this party. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, we are at 30%. This is utter fantasy and lies peddled against Reform UK. And to prove them wrong, let me tell you, we've led the last 250 opinion polls, and the latest polls have us on course to win a thumping parliamentary majority at the next general election. So we know that if that is true, we will kick out big Labour figures like Rachel Reeves, who will be booted out of Leeds. Angela Rayner, she's toast. Bye, Angela. And my favourite of all, Mad Ed Miliband, he's out, he bites the dust. So look, the future is bright, the future is turquoise. But this can really only happen with your help. This is your chance to be part of our movement and change British political history for good. You can make all the difference. So we need you to support us, to become members, and most importantly, to put your names forward, to stand for us at these elections in just over 6 weeks' time. Just look at the difference that people just like you have made across the country so far. Now, in County Durham, Reform UK has scrapped the stupid net zero schemes. We have saved tens of millions of pounds in so doing. In Derbyshire, we have cleared the pothole backlog we inherited. We went from 17,000 potholes down to 0 in the first 10 months of taking office. And in West Northamptonshire, Reform UK served notice on all 3 asylum hotels in the area, and we are determined to shut every single asylum hotel permanently in this country. So in 44 days, on May the 7th, it is your opportunity to vote here in Leeds. This is your chance to show Labour how angry you really are about the state of this country. So, I urge you, get to the polling booths, grab that pen, summon that inner fury, and put your cross in the box. Vote for the only party which will propel Britain forward. Vote for Reform UK and change British history. So that leads me really nicely to introduce our first speaker. She has been Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire for almost a year. She's one of 2 Reform mayors, and she is doing a cracking job delivering for local residents. She also sits on the board of Reform UK, that is the party's governing body. Ladies and gentlemen, I am, of course, talking about the incomparable Dame Andrea Jenkins. But before we meet her, let's see her story.
What legacy do I want to leave if I'm elected mayor? I want Lincolnshire to be the best place to live, to bring up your wonderful children, because I want to ensure that the county thrives. I went to school here, I went to college, I went to university, I've worked here, I was a councillor here, and I know what the great county is capable of achieving, and I want to be the conduit to make sure that happens. I've always been outspoken, I've always done what I feel is right. During the Brexit years, I even stood up in the chamber in the House of Commons and told Theresa May to resign.
The public no longer trust her to run the Brexit negotiations. Isn't it time to step aside and let someone new lead our party, our country and the negotiations?
Britain is broken and Britain needs reform.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dame Andrea Jenkins.
Leeds, it's great to be back. Now, I can see a few familiar faces in the audience in front of me. Now, I remember standing in this very arena in 2015 when I stood against Ed Balls and became the MP for Morley and Outward. Now, it was an electric night, 2 recounts, and my dear mum, God rest her soul, she fainted. Now, I had the privilege of serving as a Leeds MP for 9 years. And in that awful time, I'm sure you all agree, the Labour Council, the Labour MPs have all been the same. They don't care about taxpayers' money, and they are pushing their woke agenda, declaring a climate emergency and even funding equality assemblies out of your money. And do you know what they're doing now as well? They're even auditing school meals to check the carbon footprint. Now, isn't that bonkers, ladies and gentlemen? Now, let's not even get on to the mayor. Now, my name for her is Wokey Brabin, but I know local people call her Tracy Breadbasket. Now, she recently jetted off to Rio to save the planet from something called a climate emergency. out of your money. And so welcome to Labour-controlled Leeds and Yorkshire, and welcome to bonkers Britain. Now, we've seen the war going on in the Middle East, and this is how crazy Ed Miliband is. In Lincolnshire, we feed Britain, and he's trying to build 40,000 acres on grade 1 agricultural land. Now, isn't that crazy? We also have this amazing gas find which could power Britain, but it's got a moratorium banning fracking. Now, isn't that crazy? Now, so I think we should get fracking. I think we should have energy independence, and I think we should say no to net zero. Now, these local elections are very important. Please do not underestimate this. Now, if we get elected here in Yorkshire, we have the power to build our country back bit by bit. This is what we are doing in Lincolnshire. We've got a reform-led council, at last. They've kept council tax low, and they've reversed the net zero narrative. Well done, them. Now, as Mayor of Greater Lincolnshire, I've produced a balanced budget. I don't know if you saw a member of my team manage to, rather than the box that the Chancellor has, we had a reform box, which all the lefty newspapers went crazy over. But I literally look at our P&L, profit and loss account, every month. I doge it myself to make sure every penny of taxpayers' money, your hard-earned cash, is well spent, because that's what reform does. We care about you. Now, talking about bonkers Labour and also Conservatives. I mean, look, Lee and I we were both the greatest critics of the party when we was in there. And I called for 2 prime ministers to resign, trying to help save our country. But if we look in Lincolnshire, it was Conservative controlled for so long. And as we know, we had a Conservative government for so long. Do you know that they have 1 dental surgery per 20,000 people? 46% of the population in Lincolnshire hasn't even got a dentist. This is Britain, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what I'm trying to do, I'm working with the NHS, and we're trying to think outside the box as reform. We are looking into having dental vans, which can reach out into our rural areas. But I'm also investing in skills and ending that narrative of these wokey degrees and making sure that our young people actually have a future. I am building the UK's largest trades, advanced manufacturing, and coding and AI college in Lincolnshire. I'm creating a system like they have in Germany, where skills really do matter than wokey Harry Potter degrees. I'm building a strong system for the next generation so that they can have a good and well-paid career. And do you know something, ladies and gentlemen? I'm building a veterans village and a veterans travel scheme. We've seen how Labour are going after our Northern Ireland veterans. And by the way, I was a Northern Ireland whip at the time. I brought in the legislation through Parliament to protect them, and Labour are going after them. But under reform, no veteran in Lincolnshire or in our country will be left out in the cold. We owe a debt of gratitude. They fought for us, and we at Reform, we are fighting for them. I'm investing in our roads, transport hubs, and I'm even looking at driverless vehicles. It'd probably be driving better than I drive. I've written 7 cars off. And designing our own travel and Visit Lincolnshire app. I'm also investing in our defence and ag tech sectors. This is where the future is. And I've created a fund to support our farming communities, because let's face it, our farmers have been hammered by this Labour government. I have plans to build a new Georgian town that is equipped with the latest technology. We don't want any more of these tower blocks, do we? We want a thing of beauty. And next year, thank you, we are hosting the world's first rural tech summit here in Britain. Because I want to ensure that our rural communities are connected to our towns and our cities. For far too long, in consecutive governments, they have been a poor relation. Now, whilst Mayor Woki Brabing jets off to Rio for a climate summit, myself as a Reform Mayor, only last week, I'm knackered by the way, 19-hour flight, I took a delegation to Taiwan to meet the Vice President. We are working on an MOU, equivalent of a regional trade deal on agtech. This is what Reform do. We build international relations, we create jobs, and we deliver for the people of Britain. But of course, none of this gets picked up in the media, does it? No. According to the left-wing media and the conservative media, Reform are all talk, but we are delivering. And this is why this rally, and every rally across our country, this is why it's important. And it's important that all of you are here today. So please go out campaigning, deliver those leaflets, canvass, and tell every single person that you meet about our great party. We can rebuild Britain brick by brick. We have some truly amazing council candidates. My dear friend Sam Harvey, she's been a councillor for 9 years. She's in the audience. She's standing to be re-elected. So I'd like to first ask every single council candidate who's here today, there's about 160 of them, can you please stand up so everybody can see who you are? Let's give them a round of applause, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, they need you. Reform needs you. And our country needs you. So please get out there. We are ahead of every poll because, you know, we have an amazing, not so secret weapon. Nigel Farage, who I've had the pleasure to have known for nearly a decade. Nigel, who is attacked by the establishment every day. And he's the only man I know who hasn't wavered. He is true to his beliefs. Ladies and gentlemen, he's got balls of steel. I can say that I'm in Yorkshire. Now, the fight back continues this evening, so please get out there, but bring your children too. My fabulous 8-year-old Clifford is backstage. He's been campaigning since he was 3 weeks old. It's in his DNA. And by the way, it's his birthday on Sunday, he'll be 9, so happy birthday to my dear boy. No one is too young to have a stake in our country's future. That is, unless they vote Green or Labour. We don't want their votes, do we? Ban them from voting. This is a joke, by the way, media. And let's get that great man into number 10. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Now, our next speaker was our first Reform UK MP. He has been the Member of Parliament for Ashfield since 2019. Ashfield born and bred, he started life as a coal miner. Now, his views have stayed stable as the world of uni-party politics have shifted around him. I know this because I see him a lot. He is unafraid of saying exactly what he thinks. Now, before we meet him, let's see him in action.
Yes, I'm happy days here. I'm really happy. So that's it. What's all there is left of it? For 3 years, I had the pleasure of working with my dad in the pits, and a lot of lads I knew from school as well came here and followed the dads in the pit. And this is where 1,000 men worked. All factories now. Probably employs about 200 men as opposed to 1,000 men. It wasn't just me, it was lots of lads in this area that got up with their dads, went to a coal mine, did a shift, and we learnt the value of hard work. And when the pits went, we lost a lot of our community. We lost some of that work ethic which had been instilled in our families for generations and generations. But we can get that back. The hope is around the corner, and we're going to rescue this country, re-industrialise areas like this, places like Scotland, places like Wales. You know, we've got a few years of pain to come with this awful Labour government. The Reform Rescue Party is marching over the hill. Give people and their families hope that there is a future for their children and their grandchildren. That's it, it's dead simple. There is nothing wrong with us Brits being proud of our history, our heritage and our culture. This country has been a gift to the world. I always say that, a massive gift. And if it wasn't for this great country and our ancestors, this world would probably be 50, 60, maybe 100 years behind what it is now. And we've got to stop giving it away. Friends, we can do this, but we can only do it if we stand strong. The establishment absolutely hate us. They want us gone, but we're going nowhere. The mainstream parties are scared of us, and so they should be, because we're coming for them at every single ballot box in the country. I want my country back. The question is, do you want your country back?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lee Anderson, MP.
Welcome to Leeds, the home of the safe places and free counselling from Leeds City Council. If anybody's affected by my speech tonight, come and see me after. I'll give you some counselling. What about them lot outside, the great unwashed? Well, thanks to the heavy rain tonight, they are no longer the great unwashed. That's better, isn't it? Let's just liven this place up. It's a little bit antiquated tonight, so we'll have a bit of fun. So I joined Reform UK 2 years ago, nearly 2 years ago, and I never really had any ambitions when I was younger about becoming a Member of Parliament, but I became a local councillor, which created a clear pathway for me to get into Westminster. And the more I got involved in politics, the more I realised that the very people we voted in to look after us were the same people that often betrayed us. Now, I'd been an MP for 4 years when I joined Reform UK, and I saw firsthand how Parliament works. But it doesn't work for the British public. It works for career politicians who spend their lives in Westminster, and they want you lot to pay for it, and never forget that. Our political leaders, except for Nigel, have literally no idea about the conversations and concerns that you lot have. They stay in their own little bubbles, and they only talk to people that agree with them. And anybody that does disagree with them, like us, like you, they are labelled as far-right racist bigots. We are being led by fools in this country. It's true. Imagine this. Imagine being sat in the pub one night, and on the table, you've got Ed Davey, Keir Starmer, David Lammy, Ed Miliband, and then you realise that the local lunatic asylum has been closed down because in walks Zach Polanski. Imagine the conversation around that table. Just imagine it. Conversations about open borders, net zero, let's rejoin the EU, hypnotic breast enlargement. And of course, at the end, we'll all speak about David Lammy's appearance on Mastermind. I'm not telling the Lammy joke again tonight. I got in trouble last time I told that. But you know what? In my local pub, my regulars, they're asking questions like why the former Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, sorry, had to resign over tax dodging. They want to know why the Anti-Corruption Minister had to resign over corruption. And they want to know why the Homelessness Minister had to resign for making people homeless. You could not make this stuff up. It's one rule for them and another rule for us. It really is. Now, regulars in my local pub also want to know why people are allowed to stay at home all day and live a life on benefits, and why we allow thousands, tens of thousands of undocumented young men into our country. They want to know why certain politicians complain when they see a union flag hanging from a lamppost and they call it divisive. There's nothing wrong with us flying our flag in our country. If anybody in this country has a problem with us flying the union flag, then they can clear off and live somewhere else. It's as simple as that. Have no fear, Reform UK are here, because we talk to real people from the real world about their concerns. We talk to them about what keeps them awake at night, which is why people from all political backgrounds are turning to Reform UK. Knock on anybody's door. There's going to be candidates in here tonight. Knock on anybody's door in your patch and ask them what their concerns are, what they worry about. And they'll talk about the cost of living, high rents, lack of houses, potholes is a big one. They'll talk about the lack of dental and GP appointments. I'm yet to knock on anybody's door where someone is concerned about international law or ignoring ECHR rulings. It's absolute nonsense. Politics, guys, is easy. It's simple. Listen to real people. Come up with a plan to help them, and then just do what you promised them you would do. It really is that simple. Now, I joined Reform UK just a few months before the 2024 general election, and everybody said I was mad. I was gambling. I was gambling on my political future. So what? I tell you what, I was gambling on the mood of the people in Ashfield and the mood of millions of British people up and down the country. And Ashfield and the country proved me right. I won. These people that voted me in, and the 4.1 million people around the country that voted Reform UK, are the same people who've been repeatedly ignored after every single general election for the past 30 years. They vote for one thing and they get something completely different. And I tell you what, they've had enough. I've had enough. We've all had enough. We need to boot every single one of them out and put them on the dole. And this is the reason why I won my seat. And it's the reason why we now have nearly 1,000 councillors in this country, Reform UK councillors. And I suspect, come May, we'll probably double that amount. And that's a credit to every single person in this room tonight. But we now have 8 MPs, but we're going to need some great parliamentary candidates before the next general election. And one route to Westminster to become an MP is by becoming a councillor. And that's how I started. I became a district councillor. And we can already see the great work that some of our councils have been doing since last May. For example, look at Durham County Council, delivering £73 million worth of savings by just renegotiating an unfavourable incinerator contract. Simple stuff, 73 million quid. Lincolnshire County Council, re-procuring IT contracts leading to a saving of 30 million quid. Nottinghamshire County Council, where I'm from, have just announced £122 million to be spent on our highways, but have just announced the lowest council tax increase for 10 years. Leicester County Council have delivered the lowest increase in council tax for 12 years. Lancashire County Council now have AI cameras on their vehicles which can map potholes, which has already saved them over 2 years' worth of work. And they've also identified over £20 million worth of efficiency savings in adult social care and £3 million in savings in children's services. That's £65 million of savings. West Northampton Council, £29 million of fresh savings to help set a balanced budget for 26-27, bringing the total savings since its creation to £144 million. Kent County Council, they're up against it, but saving over £32 million over 5 years by scrapping the net zero renewable energy programme. They've also declared an illegal migration emergency. Reform Council leader Lyndon Kemp-Carron says the cost of illegal migration and associated asylum spending totals close to £600 per household in Kent. Imagine that. Every single household in Kent paying £600 for illegal migrants. She says the number of unaccompanied children seeking asylum in Kent has quadrupled over the past decade to 12,000 children. Reform UK nationally has delivered and identified more than £700 million in savings, with more large savings to follow. Meanwhile, what are Labour councils doing? Well, if you work at Leeds City Council, you can have free access to a safe space. Because you might be offended at what Nigel or Reform UK have to say. Now, I hope this idiot that works at Leeds City Council is watching this tonight, because I would hope that he is recaptured very quickly. And then sent back to the secure unit and a straitjacket fitted. What an absolute lunatic. Liverpool City Council, they've been at it as well. Labour, they've launched an online myth buster, urging people not to blame asylum seekers for violence against women. Now, according to the council's guidance, there exists no causal link between asylum seeker populations and the increased levels of violence against women and girls. But the police say that 8,500 arrests of foreign nationals for sexual offences, including rape, occurred in 2024 and at the start of 2025. Labour councils in the north of England have claimed that artwork by school children could be considered blasphemous under Islamic law. What a load of nonsense. We keep hearing this term, don't we, Islamophobia. There's no such thing. It's a made-up word by Labour politicians to help save their safe city seats. It's as simple as that. What about Birmingham City Council? Rats the size of small dogs. Sheep, in some cases, big sheep. Feasting. It's not funny if you've got rats that big. I don't know why you're laughing. Feasting on tons of rubbish and attacking people in the street. These are rats. And for decades, Labour-controlled councils have ignored the systematic rape, abuse and kidnap and torture of thousands of white working-class girls by Muslim Pakistani rape gangs. And again, why did they ignore it? They ignored it because they thought it would cost them votes at the ballot box. And I'm not scared to say that, because it's true, and they should hang their heads in shame, every single one of them. And don't forget that the Labour government wanted to prevent millions of people from voting in this May's elections, but Nigel and Reform UK and the team have stopped that. Yeah, they've stopped that. And the Conservatives and the Labour Party will be punished at the ballot box, believe me. We are the only true opposition in this country. The 8 Reform MPs genuinely hold this awful government to account every single week in Parliament. And I strongly believe, and I say this to everybody I meet, and they tell me the same, that we've got only one chance to save our great country. Just one chance, because for the last 25 years, we've been giving it away. But the general election campaign starts now. It's already started. It starts in May. We've got to win council seats, we've got to win more councils, we've got to do well in Scotland, we've got to do well in Wales. And if we do that, and our plan comes together, then Nigel will get the keys to number 10, whenever the next general election is. Guys, we've got to focus all our attentions on these elections. It's critical for the future of our country. Do you want to help? Yes. Do you want to get involved? Yes. Do you love our country? Yes. Do you want your country back? Yes. So do I. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lee. Well, that brings us nicely, ladies and gentlemen, to our final speaker. Now, who could that possibly be, I wonder? Well, he's a man not afraid of a political fight. He took on Nat West, and he won. He took on YouGov, and guess what? He won. And ladies and gentlemen, at the next election, he will take on the establishment, and he will win. Because there is no doubt in my mind, soon he will make history when he becomes the next British Prime Minister. Before we meet him, let's see him in action.
We are all ships rising on a turquoise tide, headed towards winning the next general election. This government is deep in crisis. They are not fit to govern. The Conservative Party are riven. There is a new, strong, unified party, the party that stands up for decent, working people, and we are the party on the rise. The energy has been unbelievable. The enthusiasm has been extraordinary. You are the people's army.
Reform is now in government. And the big shout-out message, and it's very, very clear, is if you vote Reform, you get Reform. And when it comes to country, of what a nation is, this is where I do personally want to confront the Prime Minister head on.
No one cares more about the state of this country than I do.
There is nobody more determined than me.
But I tell you what, folks, that was just the beginning. Thank you very much indeed.
Now, the leader of Reform UK, Nigel Farage.
Good evening, Leeds. Well, what a pleasure it is to be here with this enthusiastic audience. And I know for most of you, it's not only the first time you've been to a Reform event, but probably the first ever political event you've been to in your lifetimes. And that's because, like me, you are genuinely concerned about what's happening in our country, and we need to turn around the mess of economic decline, societal decline, frankly, a failure of leadership across both parties, broken promises. We now need leaders and politicians that believe in putting the British people first and are unafraid to take on the left-wing challenge. And that's us. That's us. A story that you've probably not heard this week because it's not been reported. And that shows you how broken Britain is. That things happen now that 5 or 10 years ago would have caused outrage, but now they're part of everyday life. Did you know that 1,000 young men, undocumented males, have crossed the English Channel in the last week? In the last week. It doesn't even make the news anymore. And should we be concerned? Well, here in Leeds, you've got nearly 2,000 people being housed at public expense, young men who cross the English Channel, and once they get accepted to stay, go straight to the top of the social housing list. I'm sorry, but if you come to this country illegally, you throw your documents into the English Channel so that we can't identify you, under a Reform government, it won't be a 4-star hotel. It won't be 3 meals a day. You will, quite rightly, be detained and deported. End of story. And that is what is right and what is fair. But of course, Boris said he'll stop the boats. Rishi said he'd stop the boats. Keir Starmer said he'd smash the gangs. Is he not the worst Prime Minister we've ever had in our lifetime? Keir Starmer, inaction man. A follower and not a leader. But none of them will do anything because they're hidebound to the European Convention on Human Rights, which our judges use to stop us deporting people. We will leave the European Convention on Human Rights. And it matters ever more. Just 2 days ago, there was a terror attack in North London. You saw it on the news. 4 ambulances paid for by the Jewish community, but available for the whole community, an important point, set fire to, firebombed by a group who've already committed terrorist outrages in the Netherlands, in Belgium, and in Greece. They are directly linked to the Iranian IRGC. And what does the Prime Minister say? He says his thoughts and prayers are with the Jewish community. We should be prescribing, as illegal terrorist organizations, radical, fundamental Islamic terrorist groups like the IRGC, the Muslim Brotherhood, and establishing the proper rule of law in our country. But he won't do it. He won't do it. And the other thing that amazes me is the sheer depth of utter ignorance about economics on both front benches. Net zero. We're all going to bow down to the God of net zero. Don't believe in religion anymore, believe in net zero. What did Boris say? We're going to become the Saudi Arabia of wind. Well, he was quite good at wind, wasn't he, really? And now we have Mad Red Ed from down the road in Doncaster. And they tell us we'd be no better off if we produced our own oil and gas in this country. So do you think the oil that comes out of the ground thousands of miles away is loaded into a tanker, crossed thousands of miles, unloaded? Do you think that's the same price as the spot oil price? We've been paying in the last week $150 to $160 a barrel to import oil into this country that we could have produced for less than $100 a barrel. We could be producing natural gas to make us self-sufficient, to make us an exporter, to give people cheaper energy bills, but these idiots, and they are idiots, in both of those parties insist we're better off importing fuels from all over the world, we're better off closing our steel plants, closing our chemicals businesses, closing our refineries, all because we now have reduced CO2 more than any other country. All we've done is to export the emissions of CO2. It is an act of economic harry-carry, and whilst I care, of course, as we all do, about the environment, I want us to become self-sufficient in oil and gas. I want cheap energy prices and the best for our country. It's unbelievable. And the same goes for business. 24 men and women in the Labour cabinet. Some of them, of course, are very clever. Our Chancellor. Well, she's a Leeds MP, isn't she? She's representing some of you. I like that. Not for long. I like that. You're absolutely right. You keep the heckles coming, that's fine. No, she's clever. She was 10 years a senior economist at the Bank of England. Not one of those 24 has set up their own business. Not one of those 24 knows what it's like to make monthly payroll. There are 5.7 million men and women in Britain running their own businesses, acting as sole traders. There are millions of people who get up early every morning to their alarm clocks and go to work and pay ever more taxes to see the people next door choosing not to work, getting up at midday, Deliveroo bringing the food and smoking dope for the afternoon. We are... You keep your private habits to yourself, all right? We will be the party of small and medium-sized businesses, of shopkeepers and of hard workers. We will. Well, we'll be on their side because we understand the threats and challenges that they face. Britain is broken. Nothing works. Try and get a GP appointment. Try and drive to Manchester at 8 o'clock in the morning. Nothing works. But until you actually recognise that, until you get the diagnosis, you can't begin to cure it. Kemi says Britain's not broken. Keir says Britain's not broken. We say it is, and because we understand that point, we're prepared to be radical in all of these areas to turn it around. Now let's look at Leeds for a moment. Let's look at West Yorkshire for a moment, where you've got a big set of elections going on here in South Yorkshire and indeed in Hull, where I'll be on Monday. This city is £2.6 billion in debt. The daily interest payments on Leeds' debt, daily interest payments for Leeds are £300,000 a day. Can you believe it? The place is completely bankrupt. Now, we've only got 35 seats up of the 99 this year, in which Reform will be trying hard in every single one of them. And we can't win the council, given those numbers. But we can at least begin to bring a voice for common sense. Elsewhere in this county, where they're all-out elections, I believe we have every chance of winning. In Barnsley in South Yorkshire, in Wakefield just down the road. And we are going to make a real dent. Now, I've got in front of me some of the candidates from those constituencies. I'm going to ask them to come up on the stage to join me. So can we start that process, candidates, right now? Someone show them the way to go. And as they file up, I want to say this. I came back into politics 20 months ago, having been retired. I'd fought for years to get Britain out of the European Union. I thought we should be a free, independent, self-governing nation. And when that was done, I thought, that's it, I've done my bit. But I came back into politics because I cannot abide where the Uniparty has taken us. I cannot abide the thought of all the sacrifice of those that went before us, leading to us, frankly, going down the tubes as a nation. So I threw myself back into the political fray. And in 20 months, folks, in 20 months, we've gone to the top of the opinion polls. We've actually led the last 200 opinion polls in a row. And the establishment are terrified of us. Terrified of us. They throw daily abuse at me of the most extraordinary kind. And I take that as a compliment. But the real success of this, are they filing through? Come on, let's be having it. As Delia Smith once said. Right, they coming? Right, keep going. Move, move, move. There's a lot of you. Keep going. These are the men and women standing for us in council all over West and South Yorkshire. These are the people who've made the decision to do the same thing that I decided to do 20 months ago. These people have put their heads up over the parapet. These people are keen to represent their local communities. These people recognise that in the 10 councils that Reform won last year, our council tax rises are lower than the other parties, that we are cutting expensive expenditure, wasteful expenditure in local government, like DEI departments. Enough. In the end, we don't need any of that. And the only reason in 20 months from coming back into politics that I've been able to lead Reform from where it is now to the top of the opinion polls is because people like this have decided they'll join, they'll make a commitment because they believe in their country, they believe in their communities, and they know that if nothing is done, we could represent the last chance this country has got to restore sanity and order. And so, I say to you, are you prepared in this audience to do something? Yes. Are you prepared to do your little bit to help us? Yes. You can join us. You can make phone calls for us. You can deliver leaflets for us. Or you can, when the time comes, do what these folks have done and put yourself up to campaign for public office. And the reason I'm imploring this of you is I know there is still in this country a majority of people who have common sense, a majority of people who believe in a nation. And if the silent majority fails to stand up and fails to speak, we are headed for economic and social disaster. So that is my message, folks, to you tonight. I know you've come along, not as members, not as people that have ever been before. You've come along, you're kind of reform curious. Are you converted? Yes. Will you help us? Yes. Will you join these great people and let's have huge electoral success? Please stand back a bit. Very, very good. Now look, stand back. Please stand back. please stand back. As Chief Pyrotechnics Officer, I am saying please stand back. Thank you everybody for coming this evening. Wish us well. Give us a hand. Let's start winning big numbers of councillors here in the great county of Yorkshire. And thank you for coming.